one thread in the intricate tapestry that defined me. No, not me. Him. Parker. But after 5 long years on the road, that name, that life, is behind me now. So far behind me that it seems like a dream. I may have been Peter Parker once, but I'm Ben Reilly now, and I always will be. But the problem is, I don't know who Ben Reilly is. 5 years ago, I discovered I was Parker's clone, a bargain basement knockoff of a human being, created by Miles Warren, the Jackal, a living weapon in his war against Parker's alter ego, Spider-Man. Everything I'd ever known, felt, believed, experienced, all of it was a lie. So I turned my back on Parker's world, taking his uncle's first name and his aunt's maiden name. My only concession to the past, and I got on a motorcycle and I rode west. I lived 100 lives as I crossed America, made my way to Europe, Asia, but no matter how desperately I tried to make Reilly into a man, instead of a mannequin, I failed. At least until I met Janine. Her love was the only thing that seemed real in the shadow world I inhabited. But even that was eventually lost to me. No, one other thing was horribly real. My brother, my fellow clone Kane, whose entire existence seemed focused on destroying mine, and now Janine and Kane are both in prison. And me? These past few months, my life was upended again by 2 staggering events. The death of the aunt whose memory gave me so much solace during my years away, and the discovery that the person we all believed was Peter was the clone. And I was the true Peter Parker. But I couldn't just step into a life that was no longer mine. I wasn't Peter. He and Mary Jane were expecting their first child. So they went off to Portland, and I pray they find the happily ever after they deserve. While that is the question, right, Hamlet? What do I do? Sure, it's great to be back in New York City. Great to be Spider-Man again, swinging over the streets, taking down the bad guys. Now that's a life I understand. But Reilly's life? I'm just a ghost, haunting myself. And sometimes, late at night, I can't help wondering, what if they were wrong? What if I'm not the real one? What if I am some inhuman monster birthed in a chemical stew? What? Now this is more like it. When I slip on the mask, I slap on the web shooters, I know exactly who I am, what's expected of me. And I'm happy. Happy because there's a homicidal maniac on the loose? Is that the person I've become? No, that's not it. I'm happy because, as Spider-Man, I can find the meaning and purpose I'm missing. Because I know I can make a positive difference in the world. There were times in the past, in that dream life I lived before, when I thought being Spider-Man was a curse. But now, I see so clearly that it's a blessing. I don't know what I'm doing here at the old house. Peter and MJ are in Portland. Aunt May is gone, and the place is empty. I guess they'll sell it eventually. But I'm glad it's still there. Still ours. Ours? Maybe it belongs to them, but not to me. Not anymore. So many memories of May and Uncle Ben. The 2 finest people I've ever known. And yet, I spent 5 years thinking that I didn't really know them. That those precious memories were implanted. Lies. And in some ways, they are. They feel like dreams. Fragments of a past life. And maybe it's better this way. Because some of those memories are too awful to bear. What am I doing here? Is it nostalgia? Grief? Or maybe I'm here to finally close the book. If I'm ever going to create a life for myself as Ben Reilly, I can't keep holding on to the past. I have to let it go. Shirley's a good woman. She treats me with respect, pays me more than the job is worth, but she's big on doling out advice. I know she means well, but it gets under my skin sometimes. So I just smile, nod, and then mop up the vomit in the bathroom. When my shift's over, I head home, pick at some questionable leftovers, and then spend hours trying and failing to fall asleep. Maybe it's just the after effects of letting carry on in my head. Or maybe it's what Shirley and Dr. Kafka said. Maybe I do need friends. Maybe I can't go on living my life walled off? Damn roaches! Bad enough when they're crawling up the walls, but when they get into my bed, that's... Wait. That's not a roach. That's a... scorpion. Hope I didn't wake you, Spider-Man. Another cold October rain in New York. What else is new? The way my life has gone? I've probably got my very own personal rain cloud that follows me like a curse wherever I go. Things weren't always this bad. It seems like a dozen lifetimes ago. But when I was younger, when I was Peter Parker, life was great. A kid couldn't ask for a kinder or more giving set of parents, real or otherwise, than my Aunt May and Uncle Ben. They devoted their lives to raising me. Poor as they were, they gave me the best education and moral values. Those were the days. But then the curse reared its ugly head. I was still in high school when that blasted irradiated spider bit me. I went from being class weakling and egghead to maybe the most unique person on Earth. I even invented some wristbands that could shoot a synthetic web line, and a costume to match. I called myself Spider-Man, and figured I could make some money in the entertainment biz to help support us all. I was a real hotshot, all right. Too cool to stop a burglar on the set of a show I appeared on. Too stupid to do the right thing. And later, when my Uncle Ben was murdered, and I caught the guy who did it, I saw it was him. The man I could have stopped, and that turned out to be the ultimate lesson in responsibility. And Spider-Man went from showman to hero. For the first couple of years, I battled one loony after another. Vulture, Kraven, Rhino, Doc Ock, none of them could beat me. But the Green Goblin forced me to pay the ultimate price when he killed the love of my life, Gwen Stacy. I should have known then death would always follow me. That in some way, I was cursed. My life went haywire when I discovered the Jackal had cloned Gwen and me. My clone, my identical genetic duplicate, beat me, thought I was dead, and tossed me down a chimney, and carried on my life as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But I survived, and while he was off knocking heads with the likes of Venom and Carnage, and marrying Mary Jane Watson, I spent 5 lonely years wandering America as Ben Reilly. When I heard Aunt May was dying, I was drawn back. I even helped Spider-Man fight the Jackal, and the newspapers gave me the name Scarlet Spider. At first, we all thought I was the clone, until we discovered otherwise, and all our lives were turned upside down again. For me, it was bittersweet. Good to find out that I was the real one, but a kick in the butt to find out I'd lost 5 years. So, Peter and Mary Jane left town, and I realized that even though I've been gone, New York is home. I've realized other things too. Someone else may live out Peter Parker's life, but there's work to be done. That ultimate lesson in responsibility is as valid today as when Uncle Ben died. The world needs heroes. There are people who still need help, and I can give it to them. That's not a curse. It's what I'm all about. Now and forever, I am the one and only Spider-Man. Okay. I have no money, no web fluid, no costume, and a desire to be Spidey again. Talk about a problem. Too bad I don't have access to Seward Trainer's lab anymore, so I could deal with this. And I don't dare sneak into the labs of the ESU, for fear of running into someone who could recognize me as Peter. I have to scratch this together somehow, without benefit of a real lab or chemicals. Fortunately, my neighborhood pharmacy should have just enough household items that I can buy off the shelf and turn into web fluid. You know, it kind of reminds me of the way I first made my web fluid. Whoa, man, this is gonna leave me with less than $5 in my pocket. I wonder if I can make edible webbing. The way things are going, it's all I'm gonna be able to afford. It takes a couple of hours and some scrounging through the hotel dumpsters, but I eventually cobble together a crude lab. Sheesh. The kid's basic chemistry set is more advanced than this. But it also costs $30 that I just don't have. This setup kind of reminds me of the first time I created my webbing. Just after that spider bit me. At least I had a microscope and a Bunsen burner back then. So, alright, some Eye of Newt and Wing of Bat. And we should have liftoff. If this doesn't work, maybe I can sell this stuff as rat poison. Hey, I did it! It really works! Man, making webbing with this stuff is equivalent to building a nuclear warhead out of sticks and matches. Reed Richards eats your heart out. Good solid line that retains consistency. It even holds form when I expand and spray. Maybe I should sell the patent to Captain America so he doesn't have to drag that heavy shield all over town. And it passes the weight test too. I'd get booted right out of the superhero union if I did a nosedive from 30 stories up and splattered all over Park Avenue. Alright, enough of the mad scientist routine. I am hungry. And since a plate of cold webbing and ketchup doesn't sound too appetizing, might as well scrounge up some chow. Some cheap chow at that. Maybe I'll head over toward the Centennial University area. I never realized Centennial was so big. I've poked my head into 24 windows and I still haven't found the fashion department. Bingo! No way that I'll swipe any good fabric. But I know enough about fashion shows to know there's always a discard bin for fabric remains. Look out, world. Spider-Man's gonna fly again. Or is that swing? The big question is, do I go with the old classic look? Or do I try something new and daring? Nah, the cape doesn't cut it. No, too X-Men. Too Asgardian. Too ugly. This is gonna be harder than I thought. Wow. Sewing this costume, refilling my web shooters, all I can think of is the first day I ever did this back in high school. Has it been that long? So many years since I first became Spider-Man. 5 years. 5 years since I went by that name. No wonder it's like the first day all over again. And hey, not bad. Look out, Calvin Klein, there's a new designer in town. Nice thing about a fashion department is that it has everything. In fact, there's one other thing I gotta do to make this transformation complete. Okay, so I've passed the superhero fashion test, and now I gotta worry about performance. Because in this game, it's not how good you look, it's how well you do the job. Long-range shot? No problem. Here goes. Look out, New York. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is back! I mean, why didn't I decide to do something safer? If I wanted thrills and danger and lots of rampant violence, I could have been a postal worker. Heck, the Avengers get paid for playing hero. Me? I'd settle for a couple of coffee breaks a day. The morgue. Nice thing about places like this is that security is pretty much non-existent. After all, who'd want to sneak in to play tag with a bunch of cadavers? Cameras. I don't want anyone knowing Spider-Man was here when they review the tapes tomorrow. I can't believe I'm actually breaking into a morgue. Next thing you know, I'll be digging up graves. I'll make this quick. As soon as I see the mask, I'll know if it was one of mine, or if it's a fake. All I gotta do is find the right body. Whoops, that's not it. I'm sorry. Alright, this looks like it could be. Holy, it's real! It's real. Now what? What does this mean? Do I call Peter Parker in Portland and drag him into this? No. He and Mary Jane deserve to live in peace. There's no sense in getting him all stirred up when I don't even have any answers myself. And I'm not gonna find him here if I leave chalk face for others to examine. Somehow, I have to solve this myself. It sounds kinda sick and gross, but I know what I have to do. I can't wait to see tomorrow's Bugle. Jonah's gonna skewer me major league. And this time, I think I deserve it. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Hero, web-slinger, and grave robber. I mean, I've seen and done some pretty weird things in this hero game, but hauling around a bag of bones is giving me the creeps. I remember it like it happened yesterday. I had just gotten my powers and tried to make some cash by going on TV as Spider-Man. I stepped aside and let some small-time 2-bit crook escape. And that mistake has haunted me forever. That lousy, stinking crook ended up killing my Uncle Ben during a robbery. When I finally apprehended the creep, I knew the world needed a Spider-Man to catch every other piece of scum like him. But I never knew he had a daughter. What do I do now? Dump her? Especially since she doesn't seem to know how evil her father really was. Until we find out exactly what Jameson is up to, I think burying the skeleton in a corner of this old Queen's cemetery is our best option. Yeah, but if Jessica gives him the photo of me in my Spidey threads, he won't need the skeleton. My face will be on every front page in the country. You have to talk to her, Ben. Remember that I was wearing the Spidey suit when her father died. His death was an accident. He had a heart attack. Gee, maybe you could talk to her. And tell her what? That I'm a clone who fought her father? That we're not cousins but the same person? Somehow I doubt that'll help. Good point. At least we're taking care of the remains, though. So many clones. So many deaths. But they were all alive once. At least one of them deserves a half-decent burial. There's one other thing we all deserve. The truth. Since the Avengers test proved this skeleton is a clone of Peter Parker, we can't be sure who we are anymore, Ben. Sure we do. Seward Trainer's test proved I'm the real thing, and you're a clone of me. I realize that's difficult for you to accept, but Trainer's test proved nothing. I never did trust him. He was your friend, not mine. It was in his best interest to have you be real. Lighten up, Parker. If you call Trainer a liar, you might as well call me one as well. Trust me when I say I didn't rig the test. How do you know someone else didn't? How do you know Seward Trainer is everything he claimed? I think you better wake up and smell all that coffee in the daily grind, pal. This skeleton proves something weird is going on, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. You mean we, don't you? No, me. I'm working alone the rest of the way, Ben. Your blind allegiance to Seward Trainer is blinding you to the truth. Great. Just great. Whew, almost missed that web line. Daydreaming some 30-odd stories above the ground could prove very hazardous to a web swinger's health. But I just can't get Jessica out of my mind. It was traumatic enough to learn that she's the daughter of the burglar who murdered my Uncle Ben way back at the beginning of my career. But she recently managed to snap a picture of me while I was changing into my civilian identity. She could tell the entire world that Spider-Man is Ben Reilly. For the past 5 years, my clone, or at least the guy I thought was my clone, has believed he was me, and has been using my name. Unfortunately, relations between me and Pete have gotten somewhat strained recently, mainly because of my pal Seward Trainer. My life already has enough complications. The truth is, even though I call myself Reilly, my real name's Peter Parker. To make matters worse, Seward Trainer has apparently vanished. I was hoping to get a line on his disappearance by scoping out his genetics lab this morning. No such luck. The place is completely deserted, and all of his scientific equipment has been dismantled. On the off chance he eventually sends for these crates, I waste a spider tracer. Seward was the only one who stood by me during my 5 lost years. He helped me survive my darkest time. It's now my responsibility to return the favor. I've got to find him. He wouldn't be missing unless he was in serious trouble. I kill a very frustrating hour or so, confirming the fact that I haven't the slightest idea where Seward Trainer could be hiding, and then realizing that I've got to get ready for work. I head for my friendly neighborhood apartment. After being on the bum for 5 years, it is so very cool to have a place I can finally call my own. A place where I can relax, spread out my things, and that television. It was a gift from Jessica. Jessica. No, I won't think about her right now. I'm due at the daily grind, and I just can't allow her to dominate my thoughts. I'll just switch into my civvies and... Odd, this place is really cold this morning. A hero. Not me. It's funny. I may be the real Parker, but Peter's still the one I think of as the real hero. Pete had the courage to marry the woman he loved and set up a real life for himself. Me? I'm just a pathetic clown who spends all my time obsessing about personal problems when I should be out saving lives. Sure, I may have hit a real bad string of luck, but I've wasted way too much time wallowing in self-pity. I'm through focusing on myself. I swear, I'm gonna start using my power with greater responsibility and finally become the hero that Spider-Man should... What the? My apartment! It's been stripped bare. Everything I own is gone. Wait, there's something scrawled on the floor. Aw, man. The hits just keep coming. I can't do this. Can't be this. Ben, what happened? I screwed up, Pete. I thought I could live the life, but I can't. Not only did I mess up being Spider-Man, but I even failed at being Ben Reilly. What are you talking about? You're not a failure. Sure, you had your butt handed to you, but there's always that possibility. It comes with the costume. And you said so yourself, man. Web fluid happens. But Ben, we've both been there, done that. You have to... No, never like this. They've destroyed my life, Pete. They've taken away everything. Everything I had. Everything I am. First, Jessica tipped to the fact that I'm Spider-Man, which would be bad enough. But she also happened to have her camera with her at the time. Thinking that's the worst thing that can happen, I get home to find my place has been cleaned out. My apartment was stripped bare. Everything I owned was gone, without a trace. Then the daily grind burns to the ground. So not only do I find myself out of a job, but suddenly I'm framed for arson. As Spidey, I'm ambushed by this group of cybernetic throwbacks called Cell 12. And no sooner do I get done spanking them, than I get totally housed by the Hobgoblin. Whoever's behind this has to know who we are, has to know our secret identities. To come after me, to tear down you're right, Pete. And I even thought it was Jessica. I even accused her of it. God, the things I said to her. But it wasn't her. You were right all along, Pete. It was Seward. So, what's the deal, Peter? What is this job that only I can help you with? I mean, you've got your spider strength back, even if it is sporadic. Oh, bro, you've got it all wrong. I don't need your muscle. Mary Jane and I want to make some room. We gotta get rid of some of this stuff. And, well, they're your memories, too. What? I mean, gee, Pete, I don't know. 5 years ago when I thought I was a clone, when I thought I didn't have any right to a life, I hit the road. All I had was a little money and a change of clothes. And I took the ugly clothes because I knew you wouldn't miss them. I learned to travel light, but I also had to learn to forget. I had to force myself to put the past behind me, to bury all of my Oh, man. I know. I miss him too. Wait a minute, we can't go yet. Where did I leave that thing? Is this it? Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Ben. So, this keeps you wired into Mary Jane? Yeah, you know, so she can get in touch with me in case she goes into labor while I'm at work or something. Cool. You know, Pete, I can't tell you how much I admire you. Your ability to survive. You've been through so much. But no matter what gets thrown at you, you bounce back. You've got a great life, A wonderful wife? A baby on the way? I really envy you, man. And I can't wait to be an uncle. You left out that I've got a great brother, too. It means a lot to me that you're here to be a part of it. Ah, dude. Man, sometimes it seems like the city is never going to recover from all the damage caused by Onslaught. Yeah, but it's not just the material things that need to be rebuilt. It's things you can't touch as well. Things like hope. The Fantastic Four? The Avengers? They gave people hope, a sense of security. People might have never even seen them, but just knowing that they were there, it gave people a feeling that they were safe, protected. But now that they're gone, the world needs heroes. Yeah, and New York can use all the help it can get. Maybe you could even use, I don't know, 2 Spider-Men? You know, it's a funny thing about us being the same guy. I knew you were gonna say that. Actually, I have to admit, I had been thinking about it myself. But you've got new responsibilities now, Pete. Mary Jane, the baby. Not to mention that your powers tend to cut out when you need them the most. No, they don't. They've almost fully returned and I busted. Mary Jane told me that you fell off the ceiling. Sorry, pal. Nobody in the club if you can't stay on the ceiling. Oh yeah? Check it out. Ah, geez, Peter. Chill, my spider sense is working. I knew nobody was watching. But Ben, look. My powers are back. I'm back. Yeah, okay. Could you get down before your picture ends up in the Weekly World News? I'm telling you, they're back. And even if my powers should happen to cut out, which is rare, my spider sense tips me off ahead of time. So I'm ready for it. I can compensate. And there's no reason why. All right already. Okay, maybe you're right. Yes! But I'm gonna be watching you. One close call and you're history. I'm not about to let anything happen to my little brother. Ben! Is he? There's nothing I can do for him. Ben, you've got to hang on. I'll get you to a hospital. Peter, come closer. I have things to say that we'd both rather keep from those looking on. From this day on, clone or not, you are Spider-Man. You have to carry on for me. Take care of my niece, Peter. Tell her about her Uncle Ben. No.